All right. Hello, class. How are you doing? Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, depending on the time you're watching this. Hope you're having a good week. Welcome to Guidance 2. Excited to have you here and a part of this class. Before we jump in, though, before we actually dive into this week's module, which is on college culture and college resources, I wanted to briefly introduce myself so you kind of know a little bit more about me, your professor for the class. I've been working in education for quite some time. I've worked at the elementary level. I've worked at the middle school level. I spent some time working at the high school level as well. And I've spent about the last 5.5 years working at the college level, some parts in Orange County, and of course, here at Chaffey College. Absolutely love what I do. I'm a professor at Chaffey College. I teach Guidance 2, this class that you're in, but I also am a counselor as well. So anytime that you have any questions and need some help with educational planning or have questions regarding transferring and reaching your academic goals, I'm absolutely here to help out with that as well. Um, I'm a former Chaffey College student, graduated from Chaffey College some time ago. Absolutely loved my time at Chaffey. I grew as a human being at Chaffey College, and I have a lot of special things to professors and faculty, counselors, and success center tutors, and it's a special place for me, and it's great to be able to be back and working at Chaffey. I love what I do, and I am eager to meet all of you and to get to know each and every one of you throughout the semester. A couple of things about me besides education and work based. I love to travel. My wife and I, we love to travel throughout Europe when we can, of course. And also too, I love to read. I absolutely love to read all types of books, fiction, nonfiction. Of course, love Lord of the Rings. I've read Lord of the Rings a few times. Love Tolkien books. I don't know if there's any other Tolkien fans out there, but I love reading. I love being active as much as I can be. I grew up being an athlete, so I definitely love playing sports. Coached football at the high school level for some time. Um, had a lot of opportunities, a lot of different ways. So there's a lot of things that make me, I guess, who I am, and I'm happy where I'm at. I'm happy to be here at Chaffey. I'm happy to be a professor, and I have to apologize now for all of the Harry Potter references and Lord of the Rings references you might get throughout this class, but I promise there'll be a purpose behind all of them. So it's a pleasure to have you in this class. So without further ado, let's go ahead and dive in to the actual course and let's look at some of the material for this week. So the first thing, before we jump into this class, I have a question for you. And the question is, why did you enroll in this class? Guidance 2 Essentials of Student Success. So the purpose behind this class is to help you to become a more successful student, not only here at Chaffey College, but to also branch out into your time at the next university level or into your job. This is a class that can benefit you in those areas. So that's the first question is, do you know the reason behind you enrolling in this class? Was it, a counselor that recommended it? Are you taking this class to meet an advisory for another course? Are you taking this class because you're hoping to gain some skills that will help you in other courses? Or you might be thinking, I don't know. I don't know why I enrolled in this class. I was hoping you were going to tell me. That's okay. That is completely okay if you are unsure why you're in this class. Throughout this course, we are going to go over a lot of important skills that are something that you can attach to your toolbox as a student, as an employee, as really just a human being. We're going to go over a lot of great pieces of information throughout this class. So I think throughout the course, if you don't know why you enrolled in the class, hopefully by the end of it, you will have a good idea and of the benefits behind it. But to add on to that question too, I want you to also think about why college? Why am I enrolled in college at the moment? And same thing too, is it because maybe somebody recommended you to go to college? Are you in college because your parents told you to, or a family member, a relative? Are you in college because your friends go to college? Are you in college because you just felt like, hey, this is the next thing to do after high school? Or you might be sitting there going, maybe I'm in college to get a higher paying job, or this is going to give me a pay raise. There's a lot of reasons why someone might be in college. You also might be sitting there thinking, I have no idea why I'm in college right now. I don't know why I'm in this class. I don't know why I'm in college. I'm here, and I don't know what's going, why I'm here in this class, and what's, going to happen next for me. And again, that's okay. That is 100% okay to not know these answers to these questions. And really, with this course, that's what we are going to, really be going over is building these skills that you can take with you, whether or not you've decided a major or decided why you're going to college, or why you're in this class. But by the end of this course, my hope is that you will be prepared, that you can take the skills with you, whatever venture you decide to go. So that's completely okay if you are undecided at the moment. But the reason why I'm asking these questions is because with college and with taking classes, it sometimes can be beneficial to have a mindset about how we're going to take a class, and a mindset about how we're going to attack college, because college provides a lot of different opportunities. Like I mentioned, it can get you a job. It can provide certain skills that you can take with you in the future. But it sometimes can be beneficial, and when that time comes, to narrow down your academic goals at the college. And again, that can take a couple semesters to reach that goal, to understand what those goals are. It could take a year, which is okay, or you might know right now, and that's awesome. But once we do make those decisions, sometimes it could help align what our paths are and how we're going to reach those goals, is to know our intentionality with college. So that's one thing, is this class really isn't designed for you to understand why you're in college, but to equip you with tools to help you succeed in college. So my point is, however you got here, I'm happy you're here. And if you're here by accident, I'm happy you're here. If you're here to learn some skills to take with you to other classes, I'm happy you're here. If you happen to be here because you're in college, this is just the next step, I'm happy you're here. If you're taking this class to meet an advisory for another class, I'm happy you're here. Regardless, this is going to be a great semester. And I promise you that the tools you will learn in this class will be beneficial to you for the future. So I want you to think about that. Continue to think about that question of, okay, so with college, what are some things that I'm looking to accomplish here? And if you don't know, then maybe that's a good thing to reach out to a counselor, to reach out to different faculty at Chaffey, to maybe start discussing some of those pieces. So I'm going to share my screen here with you all, okay? And what we're going to look at here is really a question I'd like to pose for you all. And it's, how will you take this class? Okay, so this is an important question that I want you to all ask yourselves, is what's your mindset looking like jumping into it? So you're going to see a diagram here. Okay, and there's 3 different categories: wading, snorkeling, and scuba diving. And you might be wondering, okay, I don't have a lot of knowledge about scuba diving. My oceanic references aren't, incredibly detailed. That's okay. I'm going to explain each of these. So you don't need to have any preconceived notion of knowledge with this before going into it. So the first category is someone who's going to wade through their classes. This is somebody who's striving to do the bare minimum. Okay, so they're looking at, what's the passing grade? Oh, it's a C grade? Well, all right, that's what I'm going for. I'm going for the bare minimum. Maybe I'll have some fun with a couple assignments, maybe meet a few people throughout the class, but you're aiming for surface level knowledge. You're just looking to get by. You're looking to, just get through the class. You might forget all the content a semester later, but hey, you got through the class, right? So that might be some of us here. We might be looking more at that level. There's nothing wrong with it. Some of you might be in your last semester at Chaffey. Maybe you're getting ready to transfer. But people who are waders, they assume that the readings, videos, and lectures are all similar. They're all reinforcing, and they're mostly concentrated on just passing the class without full immersion. Okay. Now, someone who's a snorkeler taking a class, they're really focused on getting a good grade. So they want to get an A, they want to get a B grade. They're going to take the time to maybe really learn and understand how to succeed in classes, especially this one. And they're willing to peek at underneath the surface of the material that's being presented to them. So, and someone who's a snorkeler, maybe in high school, they're an average to good student. Maybe they were, maybe you were successful in some classes, maybe not so much in some other classes, but you know that when you understand and you understand the material, you feel better about yourself. You know your strengths and weaknesses, and you're striving to get the best grade possible. You're a snorkeler, and that's great. Now, there's somebody here in these classes, and this is a question again I'm asking you all, is, are you going to take the class as a scuba diver? Now, a scuba diver is willing to go deeper into the understanding, and they're looking to gain all the skills necessary to be successful in the class and for the future. So someone who's a scuba diver is a critical thinker, and they complete their assignments with enthusiasm. Okay, so this is somebody who, when they're given an assignment, not only do they fully read through and really attempt to learn the material, but they're also taking the material and applying it to other classes, to their life. They really take the time to really think about it. They might even read up a little bit more. If there's a suggested video attached, but it's optional, they're going to watch the optional video. They're going to read up more on it. They're going to take the information and put it into their own words to really make sure they're understanding it. So scuba divers, they are actively using resources and trying to go as deep as possible in the information. Sure, a scuba diver wants to get a good grade in the class, but their focus is on how can they take this information to make them a better student and to better fully grasp the material. This is the way to not only just move through the class, but to be able to remember it afterwards, applying it to your life, to actually gain something from a class. That's what a scuba diver is. They take every opportunity and advantage offered in their classes and apply what they learn right away. Scuba divers are curious, passionate, committed. And you think about a scuba diver in real life, they go deep, right? They're going all the way down, right? They're going to the bottom. Sometimes they go to the ocean floor. While snorkelers, right, they kind of stay at the surface. They might dip a little bit, right? Maybe they see a fish that's kind of interesting. Oh, let me look at this fish here, right? But they still stay at the top. They'll just dip a little bit and stay at the top. While someone who's wading, they're above. They're always at the surface. They're not looking to go deep at all, right? So if you're kind of following along with me with this, I'm asking you this: whether or not you know why you're in college or why you're taking this class or what your major is, that's okay if you don't have those answers. But I want you to consider this: how do you plan on taking this class, and how do you plan on taking each class? And if you're thinking, I don't know how I plan on taking this class, what should I do? What you should do, and what I recommend, is to be a scuba diver in each of your classes. Because scuba divers not only work hard in their classes, and they come in with a mindset of hard work and dedication and striving to learn as much as they can, but they also apply what they learn in their courses to their life and to their other classes. They're fully understanding the material, versus someone who's a waiter, or even someone sometimes in snorkeling. They'll pass the class, but they don't remember it a semester later. And you may have had this experience, or you've heard it of another student. You might have asked them, hey, I noticed you took Intro to Sociology. How was that class? And the student goes, I don't remember. What grade did you get? I don't know. I got a B in it, but I don't remember anything about it, right? I don't know if you've ever been that way, or if you've talked to somebody that way. I've done that. I did that when I first started out in college. I had classes where I don't even remember. But it wasn't until I began to scuba dive into a class when I really got to take the material and really, really understand it and really apply it to my life, that's when I was really becoming a good student and what we call a lifelong learner. That's where you develop intelligence. That's where you can really take college to the maximum. Whether or not you know your major, whether or not you know why you're in this class and what you're doing at Chafee or what your goals are, by scuba diving into your classes, you are fully grasping everything and squeezing every inch of what college can offer for you. So this is a form, this is in the modules, so you can download this PDF and look at it, but I want to encourage you to consider this each time you take a class. I want you to think about these three. And this is a good marker, especially moving forward, okay? So now that we've talked a little bit about why you're here and also looking at how you are going to attach your mindset to each class, let's take a look now. And I'm going to go ahead and share my screen to another page here. And we're going to look at a PowerPoint here, few pages on college culture and resources. So I talked about earlier what this class is all about, right? We know this class is Essentials of Student Success. What does that mean? Essentials of Student Success. Sounds fancy, sounds great, but how is that going to apply to you as a student? What does that actually mean to me? Well, this course is designed to equip you with the tools and the resources that you need to be a successful college student. So think of somebody who works in construction or in a business, on really any job. The construction worker needs to know how to use specific tools. They need to know the resources available to them to be able to be effective at their job. You don't just put somebody out on a construction site and say, hey, just get to work. Your shift's from 9 to 5. Just make sure everything gets accomplished by the end of the day, and you're good to go. Just read through the instructional manual and you'll be fine. No, a construction worker is given tools and they're shown how to use those tools to be effective. So they have a tool belt. They'll have like a tool belt of specific pieces that they can take with them to be successful at their job. Same thing with somebody who's working in business. They are trained and given information, tools, if you would call it, to be effective at their job. Without the tools, without the resources, they're going to sink. They're not going to do well at their job. And that's the same thing as a student. If you're going to be a successful student, you can't just go into it alone. You can't just go into college just saying, hey, I've been a student before. I've gone through high school. I've gone through middle school. I've been a student for a long time. I know how to do this. You show up to class, you turn in your assignments, you take notes when you can, and you study for tests, and you'll be fine. To a degree, yes, those are part of it, but there's an actual set of tools and strategies and resources that you need to be aware of if you want to be a truly effective college student. And that's what this class is all about, is how to navigate through college, how to not only take a class and get a good grade, but to be able to grasp the information and take it with you into other classes, how to really take notes, how to develop a healthy mindset, how to set the proper goals. These are things we're going to talk about in this class. But the first thing we need to know before we can move forward and do any of that is we need to talk a little bit about college culture and resources that you can use to be successful. Now, one thing I want to challenge you all to think about before we actually start diving into this is if there's somebody you know that has gotten straight A's, okay, if you know somebody that, hey, oh yeah, they got straight A's through high school, maybe they were even like the valedictorian, or somebody that you know or know of that's gotten grades that you admire, that say, hey, wow, that's a good student there. Ask them, how did they become a good student? How did they reach those grades? And I guarantee you, they're not just going to say, well, I was born with intelligence and I don't know what to tell you. I've just always been good at school. That's not what they would say at all. To be successful in college, you have to first use your resources. It's incredibly important. But to be able to use your resources, we need to understand college culture. So I want to show you this diagram here. Two different ends of the spectrum here. Successful students versus struggling students, okay? A successful student in college accepts personal responsibility. They see themselves as the primary cause of their outcomes and their experiences. Okay, so that's a successful student. A struggling student sees themselves as a victim. So they believe that what happens to them is determined by fate, luck, something other than themselves. So they blame others. They'll blame others for the grades they get or their success in a class. It's not on them. It's somebody else. That's a struggling student. They're going to have a hard time pushing forward. Someone who's a successful student has self-motivation. So they find purpose in their lives by pursuing meaningful goals and dreams that they set to themselves. While a struggling student, they have difficulty sustaining motivation. They feel depressed, frustrated, resentful about lack of direction. Now, it's okay to not know your major, and it's okay to not know why you're in college. But that's something that you will learn throughout this class is there's resources for you to explore these opportunities. We're glad you're here. I'm glad you're in this class, and we will show you how to utilize the exploration pieces to help you find that self-motivation. Master self-management. A successful student has good self-management skills, meaning they consistently plan and take purposeful actions in pursuit of their goals and their dreams, while a struggling student seldom identifies specific actions needed to accomplish a desired outcome, meaning, they're not really, taking their own action to pursue a goal. And when they do, they procrastinate. That would be a struggling student. A successful student employs interdependence. So they build relationships with other people to help them achieve their goals and to also help others do the same thing. While a struggling student, they're stubbornly independent. They're not really focused on using resources. They might think, I don't need it. Somebody who's getting an F grade or a D grade, that's somebody who needs help. That's somebody who needs to use a resource, which is not true. Like I said, try and ask somebody who gets straight A's and good grades in college, and I guarantee you they're using resources at their college campus. We recommend it. Even if you're getting an A grade in a class, you'll find A students in tutoring, A students utilizing resources that are available to on campus. It's there to help. So these are a couple things that we need to look at is successful versus struggling students. And everything we're going to talk about in these classes, they're all tips that have been gathered from professionals, from research, from data. I didn't just make this up. This isn't just Kirk's opinion. This has been taken from textbooks and, like I said, research, data, and from professors and counselors. So these are things, if you want to take them and download them, these are good sticky notes to even put down on a desk, if you will. Now, before we jump into culture a little bit more, here's a couple more tips to be successful in college. And one of them is to get serious. What do we mean by getting serious? Well, set goals for each class. If you really want to be successful in a class, set a goal. Okay, so you're enrolled in this guidance class. What do you want to get out of it? Do you want to get a good grade in the class? Is that one of your goals? Do you want to learn better time management skills? Do you want to, develop good study skills? What's the goals that you have for this class? You should have that for each class and set those at the beginning of the semester and then track them as the semesters go along. Attend all classes on time and attend all classes. Don't miss a class. I know it could be easy, especially when you get to college. It's not like high school where we're going to constantly be checking in on your attendance. But when you miss a class, you're potentially missing crucial information that could be on a test, on an assignment. You don't want to miss anything. And these professors, they want you there. So make sure you're there. Not only there on time, attending all classes, but participating. Engage in the class. Apply what you're learning and put it into your own words. Ask a question, confirm with what you're learning, ask to connect with other students. For you to engage, that will lead to your success. If you're silent, sitting in the back, you're going to have a hard time really manipulating and getting with the material. Participate. Get organized. Get your learning supplies, have your supplies ready to go. Be prepared, create a schedule, get comfortable with the campus technology. We're going to be going over some of this throughout the class, especially the schedule and campus technology. But these are things that you need to be equipped with before you jump into a class, because these things will help you succeed. Okay, you know that it's important too. And again, we're going to talk about that throughout the semester. Money management, also to get familiar with your campus, learn it. When you're on campus, know where your classrooms are and know beforehand. Know before the first day of class starts. Know where your buildings are. You don't want to be late. Again, you don't want to miss anything. You want to be on time. You want to use these opportunities to learn as much as you can. You want to network with your professors. You want to build relationships there. And in order to do well in a class, you got to be present. You can't do well and miss a lot of classes. That's a recipe for disaster in any class, is not showing up. So one of the first steps is show up and be on time. That's half the battle. Learn your instructor's name, know their office hours, connect with them. Don't be afraid to contact them. They're there to help you. Reach out to them. In high school, you could just talk to your, teacher after class, and it was a little easier. Professors in college, they have set office hours that you can go meet with them. Meet with them in office hours. They want you to. They can provide tips. You can talk to them about your grade, how to improve, how to, check in on for understanding. Utilize office hours and study the syllabus. Don't just skim it. Really know it. The syllabus is your guide to the class. It's your way to really fully grasp what the professor's expectations are of you, to know, of course, when class assignments are due, but your professor will always refer to the syllabus. It's the focused word for the course. So learn it, know it, and save it. Have it handy at all times. So, in terms of college culture, and we've all heard that term, culture, right? And we think about it typically in maybe culture at home. It could be culture at a workplace, culture maybe, through a city, through a state, through the country, United States, another country, right? We when we hear the word culture, maybe some of those things come to mind. Well, higher education, college, has a culture of its own. And I'm going to use the example of an iceberg. And I know one of the first things you think about when you think about an iceberg, of course, is the scene from Titanic, the tragic scene of the Titanic hitting the iceberg. They tried to swerve around it, but they couldn't. They hit the iceberg, they sank. And we know what an iceberg is, right? An iceberg, you can see part of it at the surface, and oftentimes it's pretty big, and especially you see in Titanic there, it's a big iceberg, but there's also a large portion of it underneath the surface that you can't see, that gives its weight and its girth and power, right, is beneath it. And it's all encompassing, right? So I want you to think about college culture in the essence of an iceberg, okay? So on the surface level, what you can see, what the Titanic saw that it hit. This is the surface part of the iceberg. And this is surface culture, okay? This is what we see above the water. This is what we can perceive with our five senses. So some examples of surface culture is food, fashion, language, gestures, art, games, music, okay? Things like that. And I'll go with let's go with the example of Chipotle, okay? When you walk into a Chipotle restaurant, you can smell, right? You can smell the food. You can see the staff working. You can see families eating at the tables, people laughing, right? You can understand that, you can see how the workers move and work. They're working fast paced, right? When you come up to order, they're moving fast. Okay, what can I get you? So these are things that you can see, right? You can see and feel with your five senses is surface culture. Okay, that's what we're talking about here. Now, underneath the surface, so we're looking at the iceberg, beneath the water is deep culture. Okay, this is things that we can't see maybe right away, but they exist. And what we mean by deep culture are things like shared beliefs, attitudes, norms, rules, opinions, expectations, taboos. Okay, so these are things that are set in place that are part of a culture that are also important to be aware of. So we'll stick with the Chipotle example here. So when you walk into Chipotle, sometimes they'll have a sign, but oftentimes they won't, showing you where to go, where to start for the line. Some restaurants don't say line starts here. You just kind of know. You go to the right side of the restaurant, you hop in the line, you first let the person know burrito or bowl, and you say, okay, I want my rice, I want my beans, light rice. I want my chicken, I want my vegetables, and you go through the line and there's a way to go about it. And then you pay and then you leave. You get your drink and you go, right? Well, oftentimes you're not really told that. You just kind of know that's the way to do it. Now imagine someone to walk up, cut in front of the line, go to the front register and start ordering that way. And they say, I want a burrito. And these are the vegetables I want. This is the chicken I want. People in line would say, excuse me, sir, line's back there. You got to go around. This isn't the way we do it here. Go the other way. This isn't specially applied for you. Follow the rules and get back in the line, right? People would speak out. People do it all the time. When you're at theme parks or you're at places, they say, hey, follow the rules. Get in the back of the line. It's back here. That's it. It's an example. It's a Chipotle example of deep culture. So it's something that's mutually agreed upon that people all follow and go through. So we got to understand, okay, so all right, we understand that culture is a combination of surface and deep culture. So let's kind of jump into a little bit of what's surface culture in college. So surface culture, these are some things that you can see right away when you get started. Class sizes. Some classes are large, some of them are small. You can see it right away. Appropriate dress code, amount of homework assigned, which varies by the class, students' races, ages, religions, courses offered. So you can immediately see what a college offers for you as a student. Methods of teaching, what's a professor's teaching style, what's the atmosphere of a classroom. These are things you can see right away. Language and terminology. So these are things that are surface culture of higher education that are important to be aware of, but you'll see these fairly quickly when you first get started. Now, in line with culture and understanding, before we really dive into the deep culture in college, it's important to be aware of some college customs that are highly recommended to be aware of that go in line with college culture and how to be successful. So I've kind of organized it here into a dozen college customs that, again, it's not just my opinion, but these are things that can help you be successful in first starting out and navigating college. One of them is to read your college catalog. So I'm going to share with you all where you can locate your college catalog. Okay, so I'm going to go to this website here. So this right here is our Chaffey College website. And over here on the top left, you're going to see a Programs and Academics tab. From here, you're going to click on Catalog. Okay, and it takes you to the 2020-2021 Chaffey College catalog. What is it? Now, think of the catalog as this. All information that the college has, all of it, from course descriptions to graduation information, transfer information, programs of study, your rights as a student here at Chaffey, academic and career communities, academic information as to how much a class costs, what is a unit, how many hours of class will you meet each week. All of this is located in the catalog. So almost everything you'll read about through Chaffey College, from different programs on campuses to information about your academic goal, whether that be an associate degree, whether it be a certificate, whether that be to transfer, it is all found in here. And it's important for you as a student to become familiar with the catalog because, like I said, it includes your rights as a student. You need to know these things under policies and regulations and what you can do as a student and in pieces of information that will apply directly to your classes. So and you don't have to read this college catalog to be successful in this class, but I want to encourage you to become familiar with it because oftentimes as counselors, as professors, we will refer to the catalog, and it's important for you to know about it. And even when you transfer, if you do transfer to a university, they'll have their own catalog. Every college does. So what's nice is here at Chafee, we've organized it into different sections. So you don't have to click on the PDF and cycle through the hundreds of pages. You can click on one of the links here to go directly to it. So for example, if you click on course descriptions, it will give you an idea of what the numbering system looks like for each of our courses. It will also give you course descriptions and list all the courses we offer here at Chafee. So this will give you a chance to see, hey, what kind of classes does Chafee offer? So course descriptions. Another thing too is programs of study. So this right here shows you all the different majors and programs we offer here at the college. And we have a lot of them: anthropology, accounting, art, photography, biology. All the majors we have here are in the catalog and a description of what the major is all about. So that's another important piece of information that is within the catalog. You also in here too, let's go to policies and regulations. It goes over behavior code, grievance processes. These are some of your rights as a student. So it's important to be aware of it. Sexual harassment policy, our safety measures that we put in place for your safety as a student. All of this is found in here. So is this important to know? Absolutely. When you go to buy a home, your real estate agent will tell you, hey, you need to be aware of all of your rights as a homeowner. You need to be aware of the fine print. You need to be aware of all that. Same thing as a college student. You need to be aware of the catalog and what's in there and what it entails to be a college student and the opportunities available to you too. So, with this class, we'll be referencing the catalog throughout the course. Can't spend too much time in this lecture. We could take the whole lecture just going on the catalog, but be aware of where it is and become familiar with it. Again, it's located in programs and academics under catalog. Okay, so let's go back here. We're going to now jump back into this other page here. And another important tip too is to create an educational plan, which will be done with a counselor. We're going to do that in this class, but think of an educational plan as a roadmap to help you reach your academic goals. And if you're thinking, hey, I don't know my major, or I know my major, counselor is there to help. That's what we do. We help. We're going to help you either formulate your plan, help you find classes for you to take, but it is important to stay connected with a counselor at least once a semester, Complete general education requirements if necessary, depending on your goal. Complete prerequisites and co-requisites, again, if necessary, depending on your goal. Choose a major, which you'll have time to do that. There's no rush. That's something you want to take your time to really make that decision about. Meet with your instructors during office hours, like we already talked about. Knowing the importance of your GPA and how to compute your GPA. Not only does your GPA impact your financial aid, impact your registration status, but it also will impact your ability to get your degrees and to transfer. So understanding your GPA is very important. If you stop attending a class, to know how to withdraw and not stay in the course and just expect the professor to do that. I'm telling you, there's a lot of responsibility on you as a student. If you think you can't finish taking a class, including this one, it's your responsibility to drop the class and withdraw, okay? And of course, talk with a professor or instructor before you do so. Know your lifetime eligibility for financial aid, incredibly important, and keep a record of important documents as well. These are some important customs to be aware of that in college will help you navigate and be successful. And we'll be touching on a lot of these throughout the course. So now let's talk about deep culture within Chafee College and within higher education, period. So how can we figure that out? Well, we're going to look at expectations of college professors, and that will tell us a little bit more info about deep culture. Okay, so deep culture first looks at how the difference between high school and college professors assume levels of maturity. So in high school, it depends on your high school and your experience, but maybe in general, a lot of high school culture assumes immaturity, right? And you probably felt that maybe a lot of teachers might not treat you with that level of respect. While in college, they're going to assume maturity right off the bat. That's the assumption. Okay. Now, if we jump into this next page here, we're going to talk about 8 key expectations that college professors have. Now, this has been taken over dozens and dozens and dozens of different college professors in a poll and a research study. But here's what was formulated. College professors expect their students to be responsible for their education. What does that mean? That means to be motivated to succeed in their classes, to turn in their assignments on time, to show up to class on time, to know what some of their, ambitions are. And we already talked about that. It's okay if you don't know that. We are going to talk more about ways, and you have plenty of time to decide that. But professors expect for you to be responsible for your studying, for your ability to turn assignments in, okay? They expect it. They expect you to attend classes regularly and complete all assignments. It's an expectation. They know that if you can attend class, things come up, but if you are good to go, they expect you there, and they want you there participating and engaging because they want you to succeed. They don't want you to fail. Nobody wants you to fail. I don't want you to fail. Nobody wants you to fail. We all want you to do well. Professors expect you to collaborate with peers and make use of available help. So again, going back to resources, they want you to use resources. They want you to network. They want you to get help from people because that's how you do well. People who just work independently, they're going to have a harder time. We can reach the grades and the level of achievement in a class when we work together. Another tip too here is change when things aren't working. So what that means is if you are studying for tests and it's not working well, it doesn't mean keep doing what you've been doing, but in just a longer duration. They're saying completely change it up. You might need to fully change your way of studying. Don't keep doing the same thing. Demonstrate a passion for learning. Come with that passion. Be eager to learn. Participate, engage with the material, and try your best. That's what they're looking for. That's what they expect. To manage your emotions well, have realistic self-confidence. These are things that professors expect. So this would be your form of deep culture in college. Just like we go back to the Chipotle example, this is the line. This is the rules of the line, but the rules of college. These are things that the professors expect you to do in each of their classes. So I have a question for you all that I want to pose. It's a little bit of a puzzle. So I want you to think about this. You have 2 students that enter college on the first day of the semester. Both of them share the same level of intelligence, backgrounds, talents, abilities. But at the end of the semester, one of them soars. They do well. They do great in the class, while the other student sinks. They do poorly. Why do students with similar aptitudes perform so differently? How could students that are the same abilities and talents and interests score differently in their class? How does that happen? Which of these students do you identify with? And what does success mean to you? I want you to think about that a little bit. What does success mean to you? And why do you think both those students had different results? Why do you think that is? So kind of going still on the what is success? What does it mean to you? There's 2 different forms of success. It can be determined by outer success and inner success. Outer success is getting all A's and B's, having a great social life, being the first in college in your family to get a degree, maybe making the dean's list or being accepted into a prestigious college. All those things are great. We would categorize those as outer success. Now, inner success, these are things that are more of like intrinsic success. It's a focus on learning instead of getting good grades. More of a focus on discovering your personal values, majoring in whichever you decide to major in, and discovering the career you have a passion for, or to learn more about the world you live in and about yourself. Those would be more of inner success. Okay? Things to think about there. Now, when we're talking about ingredients of success, it can be, well, it's really important to think about it in 2 different ways: hard skills and soft skills. So What's the difference? Well, hard skills are things like writing skills, math skills, reading skills, learning skills, and study skills, which we'll be going over within this class, but you can get the picture. Hard skills are things that are observable, they're measurable, they're learnable, and they are essential to student success. So those things, yeah, those are important to doing well in college, but it's not it. On the right side, we have soft skills. Soft skills are things like persistence, self-confidence, motivation, self-management. These things, these soft skills, these are invisible qualities. You can't see them on the surface, right? But these are also learnable and essential to success as well. You can't do well in a class without the soft skills, just like you can't do well without the hard skills. But I want you to understand that we need both. Now, I'm going to skip ahead a little bit here because I want to show you something that was pretty interesting. So a recent Google job posting, so this is straight from Google, featured all of those soft skills we just talked about. We're going to be covering those within this class. Okay. So here's some of the soft skills that we have that were listed in this job posting. This job was looking for applicants that are accountable and responsible. They were looking for students that or applicants that demonstrated motivation, that prioritized and had self-management, interdependence, meaning teamwork skills, self-awareness, lifelong learning, a desire to learn, asking questions, emotional intelligence, and a belief in self, ability to maintain confidence. Wow, that's everything we just went over, right? So those things that you're going to be learning in this class, again, don't only apply to your ability and your success in college, but as you can see, these are things that employers are looking for. So as you can see, the job, yeah, it might say, hey, we need this specific degree, and maybe they're looking for some hard skills. Maybe they want computer programming, whatever the job is, they want some sort of skill, but you can see how important those other skills are as well. And just as it is important for Google, these things are important for you to also do well in your classes, equally as important. So these are things that I really want you to think about as we move through this class. Is first of all, begin to think about, okay, within college, what are some of my goals? Why am I here? And if you don't know, that's okay. But I want you to think about those things. How am I going to take this class? Or am I going to wade through it? Am I going to snorkel through it? Am I going to scuba dive through it? And looking at college culture, as we just did, college culture looks at the surface and the deep culture. And we looked at the differences there. The importance of knowing the college catalog. These are ways to really get started in really navigating through this course. These are important things to start with. In the next video that you're going to watch below this, we're going to talk about college resources and the importance of utilizing them as a student. So let's go ahead and go to our next video and we'll continue this discussion.